So maybe you're wondering, what is psychologically sensitive yoga or psychologically informed yoga? Why might you want it in your life? Very good question. So I want to try to answer that question by talking about the three main points of psychologically sensitive yoga. Point number one, psychologically sensitive yoga acknowledges the reality of mental health in our world. So back in the day, before we founded Room to Breathe, it was pretty commonplace for if you walked into somebody's yoga room, it was sort of accepted that you gave permission to be touched, adjusted, and so forth. We believe that while yoga can have many, many healing benefits for those who have experienced trauma and psychological distress, it can also trigger and it can also set people back in their journey toward healing. So in our classes, we train our teachers to be really thoughtful about what they're doing and why they're doing it, and what effect it might have, not only on someone's physical health and body, but also on their mental health and body. Point two. The second point is function of the technique over the form. This is a mantra that comes from design and architecture. It's also used by many thought leaders in the yoga world. What this means is that we're prioritizing the function of whatever we're doing over the form. So rather than trying to perfect a form so that you can take an amazing photo of it for Instagram, what you're trying to do is become more and more self-aware, more and more aware of how things feel within your body, and you get to know and befriend your body a little bit more. After all, it's your home. So we focus in our classes more on introspection and interoception rather than exteroception, or trying to make the form what somebody else thinks it should. Side note, it's often easy to think that there's one correct way to do a posture, whereas we know that because of different yoga traditions, because of different ways of teaching, and because of different students and their different bodies, there could be many different ways that could be appropriate to do a posture, not only one correct way. So it's tempting to think that you either do it right or wrong, but actually, our teachers want to inspire within you this idea that you know your body and you know what feels right to you and you know what feels wrong to you. And we're here as guides, not as the arbiters of truth when it comes to what the correct version of the posture is. Now, does that mean you're not going to get alignment cues? Nope, you will. You'll get alignment cues that are based on feeling into your own body and sensing the alignment from the inside out. Point three, did you know that yoga actually was developed as a system for freedom in the mind, not as a system to make you more flexible? Sometimes it's hard to remember that with all of the imagery of yoga that we see in the United States being around the physical aspects of yoga. But actually, yoga was a tradition that was initially developed to help reduce human suffering, something I'm sure we could all use. So, psychologically sensitive yoga takes a deep dive into the text of yoga. And trains our teachers to understand a lot of where this tradition came from and how we can relay some of the rich and deep psychology that yoga offers us into our classes so that we get a chance to practice this aspect of yoga on a regular basis. So our practice is not just about the physical, but can be about how do we create more mental freedom for ourselves? How do we study ourselves, our actions, our motivations? How do we inspire change within ourselves that feels aligned with our purpose or with our deeper sense of self? So this exploration is really acknowledging, not making anything up, but acknowledging the rich psychological history of the yoga tradition. So you might ask, who is psychologically sensitive yoga not for? We're not promising that it's right for you. Maybe you want to look at yoga as a purely physical practice. Maybe your aim of yoga is to get into a particular posture as a way of working with your body. Then That's great. There's a lot of great studios around the country that do just that, and I'm sure you won't have trouble finding one that focuses on the physical. At Room to Breathe, we focus on combining psychology and yoga, so it's a little bit of a different take than you might see in some other yoga studios. We really believe that there is a right studio for you, so if it's not us, we can make some great recommendations for our colleagues around the country that are doing wonderful work. However, if psychologically sensitive yoga does sound like a good fit for you, please feel free to drop in to any of our classes. You can sign up day of. You can also talk with our teachers, and we have a teaching assistant standing by in every class to assist you in making sure the practice feels right for your body on any given day. Again, my name is Serena. I'm the director of Room to Breathe Yoga, and I'd love to hear from you. My email is serena@roomtobreathechicago.com. Thanks so much for your time. I hope I'll see you soon.